Hey you guys, welcome back. Okay, so in this video, I'm going to show you not only how to use clipping masks in Keynote, but why you would want to use one in the first place. So let's jump right in. All right, so I just have a plain canvas open here, and I'm using a liner pen. This one comes with Procreate. I believe it's in the inking section. I moved it so I could find it easier. So the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to draw a shape. Okay, so we'll just draw a circle. And we'll make it an actual circle. Fill it in like this. All right, so right now we have one layer that is just a filled in circle. So what is a clipping mask? A clipping mask is a separate layer that tells Procreate only put information on the layer below it. So if I turn off our background layer, you can see that this one that says layer 4, all it has on it is the circle. Everything else is transparent. So if we create a new layer, tap that layer and select clipping mask, layer 2 now has this little arrow pointing down to the layer below it, which would be layer 4. I don't know why they're labeled out of order like that, but that's what it is. So now if we were to change our brush color, for example, maybe pick a pattern. Let's do this one. Now, no matter where, if I'm on layer 2, which is the clipping mask layer, no matter where I draw, it's only going to fill in where the layer below it has information. Let me pick a different color so you can see that better. See how it's not drawing outside of the circle? That's because on the layer below it, there's no pixels for it to draw on, essentially. So that kind of looks like a moon, right? So why would you want to do this? Well, if you're creating, say, a template for something, right? Let's say that we have another layer here. I'll speed through this part for you guys. Okay, so I created essentially a shading layer that turned our little circle into kind of a sphere. Now, let's say that you wanted to keep the shading, keep the shape, but change the color or texture. A clipping mask is a very easy and non-destructive of the original file way to do that. So I can go to our clipping mask layer, clear it, and then take like another color. Maybe we could add some pink in there, and it's not doing anything to our base layer. This is just its own layer that is essentially copying the shape of the layer below it. So another way that you could do that would be, okay, this one's green, but I want a full pink one. So I can just drag and drop color. Now we have a pink sphere. I want a blue one, same thing. Drag and drop that color on the clipping mask layer. The entire layer, you can tell, has that full square of color, but because it's masked, it's only showing the data for the layer below it. If I turn the clipping mask off, turn off my shade layer, you can see we just have a square of color. But because I turn the clipping mask on, it tells it only put color where there's information in the layer below it. And you can tell the layer below it is because it has that little arrow that's pointing down to layer 4. So clipping masks, you can sort of think of them as a way to quickly change a color or pattern of something that you're making without messing with the shading layer. Or you can also use it to create another shape or a duplicate, essentially, of the layer below it without destroying or distorting that layer. Let me show you why you would want to do this. I hope I don't mess up my file. So this is just the color, right? And this is how I have this one set up, because that's really all I've done with it so far is just make different colored ones. So I just made it gray. I can make it green again. But watch what happens if I change the color or like a pattern on this layer. So I'm going to select the layer so that I'm only, again, drawing in the circle. And then I'll go ahead and do that cloud brush. It works great, right? No issues. Looks just like you would expect. But now I've destroyed that base layer. So if I wanted to just fill this with color, watch what happens. You can still see the texture of the clouds because the cloudiness is on that base layer. So if you want to keep it so that you can change it with patterns and colors. In fact, let's find here. This is a better example. So see, I just put all these dots on here. They're not perfect. That's fine. But now if I wanted to change the color of this base layer, it's not going to work. See? Because now this base layer is a pattern and not a solid block of color that you can change. So by using a clipping mask, you're preserving that base layer so that you can color, pattern, change them however you want to. So that's how I use clipping masks to change patterns, textures, colors of my digital content. I use this a lot in digital planning for like creating templates for like binders, books, pens, pencils. I don't use it a whole lot when I'm actually just drawing for like Inktober. But for stuff like this, when you're creating and working with templates, it's a fantastic way to change a color of something, but preserve what the original idea and concept was. So if you guys have any questions, go ahead and hit me up, let me know. And I do want to give a special shout out for my patrons. This is the last video of May, and I'm I say this every time, you guys, but I'm literally so grateful for you guys to continue to support me, support what I do. It's awesome. I love talking with you guys and creating content for you guys. So thank you again from the bottom of my heart. Sappy Jenna signing off. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.